I recently got back from a holiday in Belek in Turkey. It was brilliant, but I did spend it looking longingly at the golf courses in the area. In reality, if I'd taken my clubs, I probably would have come back from that family holiday single. It's a brilliant place, stunning beaches, 5-star hospitality in some of the best hotels on earth. But for me, just getting out on those courses would have been the icing on the cake. Search Turkey on TripAdvisor now to book your ultimate golf holiday in the Turkish Riviera.
The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire. The human postponer. They were the master of one phrase. I'll circle back on that. But 3 months later, you are the one doing all their work and wondering how big that circle is. But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can take the hiring load off your plate by automating the hiring busy work from the initial job post to scheduling interviews. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality. This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
Rain again, and he's got it!
Gavin was closing in. Oh, Gavin has scored!
Abdul Osman against Brad Jones to put Liverpool out of the cup, and Northampton 3! Northampton get it!
Hello and welcome to It's All Cobblers to Me. I'm Charles, and just like that, positivity has spread throughout podcast towers thanks to a young man named Matty Warhurst. Joining me to bask in the delight of Northampton signing what Football Manager might call a wonder kid is my good friend and fellow Cobblers fan. It's Chessie Jeffington. How you doing, Jeffster? You okay? It's great to have you back for another season, mate. Are you raring to go?
I am, but I'm quite disappointed that you've not introduced me by my formal new name.
Your full new name of Chessie Jeffington, the Jeffster. What else have we mistakenly called you in the past? Jafifi, that was one after the whole Donald Trump debate. Heffy is quite often WhatsApp autocorrect puts your name as, and the surname, not Coleman anymore. No, because Jeffy went to the Grand Prix at Silverstone a few weeks back and she met the one and only Lewis Hamilton.
Did.
Somehow Jeffy now thinks that she got married to him.
Honestly, hands down the best weekend of my life. Absolutely marvellous.
Even better than the Cobblers winning League Two in 2016?
I would say yes, because the Cobblers, whilst are always disappointing me, generally speaking, there's a promotion in around that. But to meet Lewis Hamilton is something that not many people get to do in their lives.
I'll give you
Bearing
that.
in mind, life moves fast, ladies and gentlemen, because I text
like
the boys at 7:30 in the morning to say my bus had crashed on its way into Silverstone. And then the next text they got about an hour later was to say, oh, by the way, I've just met Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
So life in the fast lane really does move quite fast.
It was one of those really, really random mornings where we were all really worried about you, and then the next thing it was like, oh, you've met your hero. Fine.
I have.
No problem.
Now, before we move on, Charles, I have a very important announcement, as you know. During that absolutely cracking weekend, I went into Waitrose to buy all of my supplies for going to Silverstone. I met a lovely lady in there called Jane, and she listens to the podcast every week. She said, can you shout me out? I was like, I will. This was night previous to the Lewis Hamilton drama that unfolded the next morning.
Love that. Hi, Jane. Lovely to have you listen. Thank you very much for supporting us. I also want to say a very quick public thank you, because I've already obviously done this privately, but you were very, very kind to me, Jeffy, because you brought me back from Silverstone a Williams F1 T-shirt, which I am really, really grateful for, and I love it, and I love you. Thank you so much. It was amazing.
You
when
are
that
welcome.
turned up on my doorstep. And Nick was just like, what have you been buying? It's like, nothing. I haven't. And yeah, so
Wow.
I opened it to great surprise. So
A
it was
long-standing
lovely,
plan, Charles. A long-standing plan. I planned it in secret for months
Certainly
and
was.
months.
If anybody wants to do that to me for the new Northampton Town home kit, then that would be much appreciated as well. Anyway, I'm only joking. We do say this all the time, but while it's free to listen to, It's All Cobblers to Me, it isn't free for us to make. And we all love making the podcast, but that just isn't possible without your help. So if you can, and you'd like to, you can support the podcast by joining our Patreon. For less than the cost of a pint at the match, Patreon provides all episodes without any ads, extra episodes, and access to our fabulous community of Cobblers fans. Get all of that and more for just £5 a month, and you'll be supporting the making of It's All Cobblers to Me. Go to patreon.com/cobblers to me right now and use the code SHOE1, that's SHOE and the number 1, and you will get 90% off your first month. And that is exactly what Matt Rice and Kieran King did this week. Thank you very much to both of you for joining us at the Patreon. Honestly, it's a great time to join because there's loads of stuff coming your way over the next few weeks as we ramp up to the start of the season. The new season is not far away at all. So why not join us for that? Coming up this week, there is a new episode of Room 101, Football Room 101, I should say. Danny is speaking to Patreon member Matt Nichol about the things that he would put about football into Room 101. We've had some great suggestions so far.
Can I suggest one, Charles?
Oh, yes, go on, Jeffy. Go on. Last season.
I'll get in there.
Could definitely go into Room 101. You're right. I was going to tease Matt Nichol's one by saying that there might be a full country going into Room 101, but you'll have to listen to find out which country wearing blue and white stripes that could be. Jeffy.
Yeah.
It's taken us 5 minutes, but here we are. Matty Warhurst signed for the bloody Cobblers.
Well,
oh, my word.
I'm as shocked as you. I was very, I pitched my camp fully in concerned field. And then we suddenly had a flurry of activity. I can't even remember what day it was. But anyway, the flurry of activity arrived. And I was all very confused on the group chat because apparently Tete Yenge was coming back. And I was like, what's going on? And then I realised that it was not. And it was someone quite good. So I'm quite shocked.
I just like you, was sort of... Because what happens in our WhatsApp group between you, me, Neil and Danny is that as soon as a tweet goes out from Jake Sharp or the football club or James Hennigan, whoever it might be, saying that there's a signing to be announced in an hour or whenever it is, we also start speculating as to who it is. And normally we do it in, silliness. And Malcolm Christie is usually mentioned at least twice. But you'll have some suggestions that it'll be, Ashley Corker coming back or something like that. But also what will happen is that someone will mention a name of somebody that you go, oh my God, that would actually be quite good if it happened. And Matty Warhurst was named by Neil in this chat. And then the thing is that we then all watched the little teaser video that the club had put out. By the way, loving your work, Matt Salmons, for doing that. Absolutely brilliant. And we all watched it, and Danny immediately went, no, it's not Warhurst. His hair isn't big enough, essentially, for it to be him. Forgetting, of course, that haircuts exist. But I think that it was just one of those things where we'd all in that group WhatsApp just kind of thought, oh, who could it be? I think it was happening on the Slack as well. People going... Doesn't seem to be too many sort of rumours this time around. There's not as many leaks essentially coming out of the football club as to who the signings could be. This doesn't look like who we've named, what's going on. And then it was announced that it was actually Matty Warhurst. And I think all of us in WhatsApp and in the Patreon Slack were just like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is actually a great signing. And I know it sounds like I'm going overboard here. This is a 19-year-old that has never played in men's football. I get it. I completely get it. And, I want to put my feet fully on the ground for at least 2 seconds. It's one of those where he hasn't played senior football yet.
Doesn't matter.
61 goals in 97 games for Manchester City's youth side. He was part of England's under-17 World Cup squad in 2023. And we were also told that he is one of only 3 players that has scored in the FA Youth Cup final 2 seasons in a row.
I mean, he's just got the credentials, hasn't he? But I think, not to do him a disservice, because, if he comes in and is a brilliant player for us, which we all hope he will be, then great. But I think it's more the intent behind that signing that made us feel so much better. Like, if you look at what has been going on at the club in the last few weeks, there's been no real landmark signing yet until that moment, I don't think. And I think it just released this pressure valve of expectation that we all had for the new season, because we were like, well, who is going to start up front? And now we've got an answer. And, if this kid is as good as what he says on paper, then we're going to... Look, my view on it is this. You kick your way out of League Two, and as long as you've got a goal scorer, you'll be fine.
I don't think you're wrong necessarily with that. And look, I am not getting so far ahead of myself that I believe that we're just going to get promoted again straight away.
I'm not
One
either.
signing does not make a full season. However, I just want to clarify what I said before about the fact that he'd scored in 2 FA Youth Cup finals in a row. The reason why that is exciting is that it has only happened a few times before. The other players to do so: Tammy Abraham in 2015 and 2016, Dejon Sterling in 16 and 17. He now plays for Rangers as a right back, by the way. And the other person to do it in 2017 and 2018 is Callum Hudson-Odoi.
There you go.
So he is in there with those names. That is pretty good. And if we ever are to get anything, to be excited about, this should be it. It is one of those where I don't think that this is going to mean that we go and get promoted all on, just because of this one bit of news, this one bit of exciting things. However, we are going to the Championship with Matty Warhurst up front. I've said it. I'm excited. Come on.
I think what is the most positive thing is that he's ours.
Yes,
that's
3-year deal.
Like, that's the thing. He's ours, and the long-term future of the club could be massively impacted by him. And and it's a bit like this the Jack Perkins situation last year, on a much smaller scale, obviously, in terms of like
Larry Swire as well.
Yeah, we're trying to get these players that we can then move forward long term with the club, and I kind of think that's where Nolan came in last year. Unfortunately, we all know what happened, but that was the thinking. The thinking is that to have a long-term plan for the club. And you only had to we only did literally look at the first goal of the show reel. That was enough for all of us. We're like, yeah that's fine. Done. That's done.
I was fully naked and erect. That's all I had to say. It was just, I was there, ready, and just can't wait for the opening day of the season. And you know what the best thing about this is that normally when we sign a striker and you go, oh yeah, that sounds quite good, blah, 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 blah. The very first game that they play, and it's a massive damn squib, right? No, he went and scored against Southend.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's what we want. That's what we love. Oh my goodness. I do want to talk about this whole, the fact is that he is our player, that we have bought him. It is a reported up to £100,000 deal. I presume that will be when he hits certain targets, that more money will actually head back up the M6 to Manchester City, help pay their legal bills, allegedly. And we will then go from there. But there's also a hefty sell-on clause as well, which I'm not led to believe this is accurate, by the way, but I kind of questioned, well, what is hefty? And Neil seems to think that hefty would be about 25%. So anybody that's maybe worried about it being really high, I don't think you need to. However, it will be a lovely thing to be worrying about if and when we're selling him for 5, 6, 7, 10 million or whatever in 2 years' time. That would be bloody marvellous, as they say. But it's interesting because in his interview, he talks about how, he's not gone out on loan anywhere. He didn't want to go on loan. He wanted to actually go permanently and gave decent, soundbite reasons for wanting to do that. But the one thing that I think you have to look at is that there is a trend over the last, quite 10 years with Manchester City youth players leaving Man City permanently to go and get first team football elsewhere. And then in some cases, they then end up coming back into, England, either back to Man City or they go to a different club. Essentially, who was the lad that is a complete outcast at the moment now, that was at Man United?
You're looking at the wrong person.
I am looking at the wrong person. There's people screaming at their podcast app right now.
It'll be Wes will be listening going, oh my gosh.
He will be because he's going, how can you forget the name of this annoying person? But the reason why we've forgotten is because
we're not Man United fans.
He went to Borussia Dortmund and then went to Man United. He played for England as well for a little bit, and now I don't know where he is. I think he was on loan at Chelsea last season and he still didn't play. Anyway,
I just think it's a really positive signing on all fronts, so long as it works. But what I like is what you like as well. It's the idea that he just wants to play football, and it does it regardless of the level. And it feels very Mark Leonard and Kieran Bowie in terms of, I know they were loans, so therefore it's different. But in terms of the attitude and the willingness to graft at a lower level to get you where you need to be, potentially more so Bowie, given what he's gone on to do. And obviously Leonard, we know, is equally as talented, but the trajectory with Birmingham, I don't think has been as big as what Bowie's has been. But I think the noises that come out of him in terms of the sound bites that you talk about are very similar to what we had with those two young players, in that they don't really care what they have to do to be a footballer. They just want to be a footballer and want to have the opportunity. And if he can gobble that up, look, if he has to kind of do what those two young loanees did in terms of earn their trade a little bit for the first half of the season before they really kick on, that's actually also fine because one, I think, and we talk about a lot how League Two does give you that little bit more time. I think it's a different ball game now, but I think we do still have time. And secondly, this idea that just bounce straight back up might not be realistic. It might be more of a 3-year long-term plan that we need to look at.
Yeah,
I hope not. But,
no, but I think it's a good thing. By the way, Jadon Sancho is the name that I couldn't remember. Cole Palmer is probably a much more easy one to remember. Left Man City to go and get first team football. Anyway, yes, I do think that the fact that we've got him on a 3-year deal is great, because if he is, first of all, if he takes half a season to get up to speed like Leonard and Bowie did, as you said, then fine. He's still going to be ours once he gets up to speed. And then if he's really firing in that second year and he attracts massive interest, for good, big clubs, then we're going to be in a very, very good position to be able to make some profit on him. And then you can then put that back into the club. And as you mentioned earlier, that's exactly the same kind of thing that we did last season, with Perkins and Swire. And you can kind of see that there's a little bit of a trending model now emerging out of Sixfields in that way. I think for a long, long time, Cobblers fans have looked enviously over the river at that blue lot from down the road and gone, why can't we do something like that? And the facts are that essentially it's two different ways of working, essentially. I saw a great post on Facebook by Keely Townsend in one of the Facebook groups this week, where Keely sort of outlined that Peterborough United take risks in terms of signing these lower league players with massive potential, and they back their coaching and their academy to take them on, to make them better, to get them into the first team, and then to make them even more better that they then get sold on for a profit. Whereas the Cobblers are more about sustainability and living within their means, not taking any massive risks, because at the end of the day, not every risk will necessarily pay off. And that is the same with Peterborough United. The other thing that I didn't know, and I've not fact-checked this, but I'm trusting Keeley with this, is that one of the things that Peterborough did, sorry for swearing, is that they upgraded their academy from a level 3 to a level 2. Now, that costs a hell of a lot of money to do, but it also means that they are more attractive to more talent in the local area. And maybe that is something that, again, you know, we've asked, haven't we, about, well, what has the academy actually managed to achieve in recent years? You know, you would talk about, realistically, in the last few years, players that have actually broken into the first team and made an impact have been Sean McWilliams and Max Dyche.
And Ivan Toney, but way back when, right?
But we're going back, you know, 10 years, more than that for Ivan. I mean, you can kind of count on one hand, I think, or at least only on two, the amount of successful players that have come through our academy since the 90s, really. So, and I don't want to blame anybody at the football club for that. And, you know, I don't have the first idea of how it works, but I do know that EPPPP, that elite player pathway thing, has a major part to play in it. But also what it means is I believe that if you are a higher level of academy, you therefore are in a better position to be able to not lose out on players from higher academies. I don't quite know how it works, but
Here's
anyway.
the thing though, Charles, right? Mm-hmm. Here's the thing about that, right? There's one thing that I think understandably can frustrate fans, but I think is massively underestimated by all of us, is that in the whole tenure that Kelvin Thomas has had this club, he has had a massive legal battle hanging over him in terms of that stadium, right? So in the whole 10 years that he's had this club, 10, 12 years, whatever, he's had this club, that the priority has had to be that. There has to be a priority in terms of the players and getting the managerial things right. And that's not always been right, but it seldom is in League 1 and 2. However, the things that perhaps that lot down the road were able to do in the last 10 years is probably something that we probably wanted to do. But what has always had to take precedent is what's been going on off the pitch. And if you sit here in 10 years' time and you say, okay, the Cobblers got relegated in 2025, 2026, but that was because a huge amount of money had to go towards correcting the wrongs that went on with the stadium and making sure that was state of art, is that a good price to pay? Time will tell, because we don't know what's going to happen this season. But if in 10 years' time we're sat here as a steady League 1 side or above, and the stadium facilities are really good, was it a big price? No.
Fair. We'll take a quick break, let everybody digest that, and then we'll come back and I'll probably counter-argue. Back in a minute.
As we do.
If your business runs on 5 different apps, 12 browser tabs, and 1 spreadsheet that everyone's afraid to touch, it's probably time for Odoo. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that connects every part of your business into one powerful, easy-to-use platform. So instead of wasting time switching between disconnected systems, your entire business works together in real time. Your team moves faster, your data stays accurate, and you can actually focus on growing your business. Let one unified system run your entire business. From the first opportunity to the final payment, everything works together in one place. Whether you're a small business or managing a large operation, Odoo gives you one flexible platform built to grow with you. Learn more at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Pace Checkout is offered by your banks and credit unions. So when you shop online at participating merchants, your cards appear in one place, ready to use and kept up to date. And the best part, your actual card number isn't shared when you check out, because boundaries are healthy, like no work emails after 6. One small step for boundaries, one big leap for checkout. Pace, it checks out. Activation required. See Pace.com to learn more. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to It's All Cobblers to Me. Before the break, Jeffy just said something very interesting about whether it might be worth it, the relegation or the on-field, not so much being, pumped with money while the off-field was in order to correct things like leases and all of that developed us to the East Stand. I think there's definitely a balance. And the one thing that you risk with doing that is you risk alienating the fan base. And I think that has happened over the last 6 months, especially with the, let's call it the vocal fans on social media. It was it was really hard to be positive for the last 6 months. So
you could have done what I did, Charles, which was totally ignore their existence.
Oh yeah, no. But even it was difficult to be positive, even without that, because the football was that bad and the results were even worse.
I didn't pay any attention from January onwards.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I just think that there is something to be said for the fact that this is definitely a statement signing in Matty Warhurst, and I like the fact that we're going down that route again. It is, of course, a risk because you don't know if he's going to come good. You also don't know if, horrible things can happen, freak injuries or, not even freak injuries, the amount of ACLs that we've had in the last couple of years. Things like that can really derail a player's career and their potential. So there's always a risk with anything like that. However, having said that, I'm so bloody excited. I just am. It's one of those. And then just to move further forward, we then made another signing not long after that announcement of Matty Warhurst. I think it was the next day. We signed a player that we are calling Mr. Citrus.
Citrus.
That's right. Welcome.
That's got to be the best nickname we've come up with.
Oh, it might be. Welcome, of course, Connor Lemony Evans. I have asked, by the way, that the club do one. In the World Cup, where we had some of the players standing there delivering their pronunciation of their name with a bit of paper in front of them, spelling it out properly, etc. I've asked for one of those for the Cobblers, and apparently they have to do it anyway for the EFL. So I'm hoping they'll stick it up on YouTube so we can all do it. But for now, Connor Lemony Evans. That's Mr. what I'm calling him, Mr. Citrus.
I'm just calling him Mr. Citrus. So fully welcome, fully on board, but your name from now on is Mr. Citrus. I hope you don't mind. Any complaints to Charles?
I'm sure that he'll be absolutely fine. He's 29, originally from Swansea. Interestingly, born in 1997 in the January, so just in time for him to have witnessed our tremendous Wembley win against Swansea. You never know. He might have been there. We should ask him. We should find out. Was he taken as a young 5-month-old or something? That would be incredible. His career has been much more varied than Matty Warhurst. He started at Bristol City before going out on loan to both Bath and Torquay. He then permanently signed for Torquay. That was back in 2020 until 2022. He's also played for Stockport, 22 until 24. He made 44 appearances for Stockport in those couple of years. He also had a couple of loans with Notts County and AFC Wimbledon in that time. He then signed for MK Dons. And the last 2 years played there, made 59 appearances, scoring 3 goals, and he's now signed for the Cobblers. So an interesting, I don't want to say an interesting career. It's, his career is interesting regardless. He's an attacking midfielder. Wikipedia says he can also play right back and right wing back.
Do you know what vibes he gives me?
Oh, go on. I love a bit of vibes.
The animal.
Oh,
I think he's going to be our new animal.
I think because he's got light coloured hair, like blonde hair, hasn't he? And then he's gone for, a beard with a tash. I don't want to call it a goatee because it doesn't look like it's connected. It's full beard and a tash. But he's got very, very short, light coloured hair. So you can imagine him being vibes. Bold, can't you?
Yeah,
like the
I'm
animal.
imagining him to be the one that breaks a corner flag.
Do you think? I don't know, but for me, attacking midfielders in general, they are either, let's think of attacking midfielders that we've had in the past.
Could you call Eric Sabin an attacking midfielder?
Oh, I don't know. Danny would have to. I think Danny would call him a forward.
I think he'd be a forward.
Striker.
Yeah.
I think you could an attacking midfielder for me can play on the flank as well as maybe a number 10 role maybe. So you think about some of those. Mitch Pinnock.
Yeah.
Mitch Pinnock, all legs, Mitch. All legs and a bloody lovely foot. But who else? Josh Lowe, lanky.
Yeah, Josh Lowe's a really good example, actually.
Yeah, but none of them I would go and say to you that they're people that like the animal that are going to really get stuck in.
I think he's going to. I think he's going to be our maverick of the squad.
Well, do you know the only other thing that I can compare it to is that maybe he'll be like a bit of an Ishmael de Montagnac and be an absolute nightmare, or who was the other guy that we had on loan that Danny loved? That in my head I once called Pierre van Hooijdonk, but it wasn't. The Dutch guy that loved him forever, and I can't remember his name.
Kyoso.
No, not Kyoso. No, he's a slug.
No?
Can't talk about him on the podcast. That is dreadful. I can't. He got sent off after the game, didn't he? That time, everybody again is shouting,
screaming at us. We're out of season. You see,
we're not in sync, and I don't have Danny or Neil here to.
No, Danny's living it up at the Commonwealth Games.
He is. He's enjoying his life. Yeah, quite right too.
We're also enjoying our life, but not at the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah, just not the Commonwealth Games. Yeah. I think this is a decent signing. The one thing that he brings to the squad for me is experience.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was at Stockport during their promotion season from League 2 to League 1. He's just been promoted with the Slugs of Milton Keynes as well. I mean, I looking at his appearances numbers and the fact that he was on loan twice when he was at Stockport does lead me to believe that he wasn't maybe a first team regular for either Stockport or MK, but he will have been inside those dressing rooms and therefore will have that knowledge and that expertise of what it takes as a squad to get promoted out of this league. And I think when you add that to the experience that we've already got in our squad, the likes of John Guthrie, Sam Hoskins, etc., who were all here the last time we were promoted, then that is a very positive signing for me. And great age as well, 29. Yeah. Prime. Should be his prime year now.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll see him come on or come into the squad and really kick on. Obviously, a few more signings I think that we want. An experienced striker, would you like? Or, not necessarily someone that will score all the goals, but somebody that's experienced at leading the line.
Well, you say this, but if we could play Sam Hoskins in his actual position, we wouldn't need one, would we?
Yeah, that is very, very true.
If we start the season with him at right wing back, I am going to scream.
Yeah, me too, to be honest. I don't think it's going to happen.
He's so good, but he's not a right winger.
We've played at 4 at the back, haven't we, for pretty much all of our games so far, which
Thank
is...
heavens.
Yeah, nice to see. I think that, and this is the wrong podcast for tactical analysis, right? We always
definitely with me.
But I always think of Sam as being more a player that will be, on either side, attacking.
Yeah.
Not a winger. He'd be an attacking, slightly.
It's a support role, isn't it? If he's not,
exactly.
If he's not, yeah. He can pop up anywhere and just shove a goal in the back of the net. Great,
shove it.
But I'd love to see him just playing those balls into the penalty area so that old
Warhurst,
Wonder Boy, is on the end of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonder Boy. Yeah.
Wonder Boy. That might have to be his name if he actually. I don't want to call him that though and put any more pressure on him. I think we've already heaped pressure. Matty, if you're listening, don't listen, because we are just going to be basically saying how brilliant you are all the time. Don't let it go to your head, mate.
Also, we've got Saunders as well, Find Saunders.
Harvey Saunders.
Yeah.
Love
or
it.
BFS, depending on what day of the week it is.
Yeah. It could be, couldn't it? Yeah, I like the way that we're starting to, we've not talked about the Birmingham game because none of us watched it. But, I've read what Jake Sharp, James Hennigan, and Chris Hogg have had to say about the game. And I like the fact that everybody can now see, everybody that does know about the tactical sort of stuff, they can see a style, an imprint into how we're going to be playing. And look, losing to a Birmingham City 11 2-0 that was pretty strong looking at the two sides. I mean, once again, Birmingham's showing off by playing 2 first-team games at exactly the same time at different parts of the country. Woo, look at us, we're Birmingham. Big deal, big whoop. I don't know. But, it's good for us to have, played that game. We won't come up against that kind of standard in League Two. So, another game where we worked well out of possession by all accounts, and a couple of sloppy moments that have led to goals. But we're pretty used to that, aren't we? So that is what it is. We are going to be back, hopefully, with a mailbag tomorrow on Tuesday. Please stay tuned for that. You can make sure that you'll hear it first by subscribing, following, whatever the terminology is that we're using these days, to It's All Cobblers to Me inside your podcast app. And hopefully will now be on YouTube as well. Audio only, but it will be there. So if you prefer to listen, and I don't know why you do, on YouTube, that's me being a millennial, don't know why you do, then it is going to be there. So there you go. You can go and listen to it on the YouTubes. Thanks very much for listening to It's All Cobblers to Me. Thank you, Jeffy, for coming on.
You are welcome. Jeffy Hamilton at your service.
Jeffy Hamilton for the win. I absolutely loved it. Do get involved with the show. You can find us on social media, on Twitter mainly, and on Instagram as well. Or you can email us, podcast@cobblerstome.com. We will be back soon. We will see you then. Goodbye.
See ya.
Way, there's the cup. There's the pictures you'll see on tomorrow's back pages. The Cobblers are going through into Division 1. Bring them on because we deserve it.
Tee off on the Turkish Riviera, Europe's premier golf destination. With championship courses in Belek and Antalya, luxury all-inclusive resorts and year-round sunshine, it is the perfect getaway under the Mediterranean sun. Play immaculate fairways designed by golf legends, then unwind beside stunning beaches and 5-star hospitality. Search Turkey on TripAdvisor now to book your ultimate golf holiday in the Turkish Riviera.
The right window treatments change everything. Your sleep, your privacy, the way every room looks and feels. At Blinds.com, we've spent 30 years making it surprisingly simple to get exactly what your home needs. We've covered over 25 million windows and have 50,000 5-star reviews to prove we deliver. Whether you DIY it or want a pro to handle everything from measure to install, we have you covered. Real design professionals, free samples, zero pressure. Right now, get up to 50% off with minimum purchase, plus get a free professional measure at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions apply.